Yo!
Yo,
What's up?
what's happening?
Man, just in these curls,
Oh,
streets.
hey, those look good, dude.
I shower in COVID every now and then. You know what I mean?
This is my COVID beard, or lack thereof, Jimmy. You look good.
Man, what's up, BZ? What's up,
Carson
Carson?
Bankard, what's up?
Let's
Sorry
go.
it took me a minute. I got this whole set up by myself, and I forgot I needed to be on the church's account, not mine.
Got you.
And so, like 2 minutes ago, I was like, Jackie, help.
Can you hear me good?
I can hear you great. Can you hear me?
I can.
Come on.
You sound like you're just super anointed and, you know, I don't know, man. It's just oozing. You know what I mean?
It's just oozing. Well, it looks like we got a lot of people joining us already.
Great.
Welcome, everybody. We're going to horse around here for just a couple minutes, and I'm going to give you a chance to invite somebody else. So shoot some people some text messages right now. Share this link, whatever you do, and invite somebody to join this conversation.
Yeah, we got to get at least over 300.
Yeah, come on, guys. Get serious.
You know what I mean?
How you doing?
Man, I'm having a great day. What I do today? I did a seafood boil. I did crawfish, jumbo shrimp, and crabs, and potatoes, and corn, and sausage. It was so good, bro.
See, what people don't know about you is what a cook you are.
That's my favorite thing.
So everybody watching, just about a week ago, literally we were sitting down to dinner, and Jimmy starts texting us pictures of what he's grilling up. And Jill was like, I wish we lived closer to Jimmy and Irene. I really want to be there right now.
People said they can't hear me. Can y'all not hear me? Can I get a thumbs up if you can hear me good?
I'm using some headphones.
Yeah, I might have to put some
and I'm
on,
getting
but
an echo.
I've never used them. I've done a bunch of these. So I'm
Maybe, should I try taking mine out?
It's probably me. They said they can hear me. We're good.
Okay, cool.
Can I get a black thumbs up? Can I get a black thumbs?
What's wrong with you? Hey, all right, so we're going to horse around here for a few minutes while everybody's joining up. All right, Jimmy, I got 10 questions for you.
All right.
You got no time to think, just boom, respond. All right? All right, here we go. Favorite movie?
Shawshank Redemption.
Ooh, favorite song?
The Blessing.
Oof. Favorite food?
Italian.
Shoes. I'm gonna say a word. You say what comes to your mind? Shoes.
Off-white Jordan 1 Chicago's.
Come on, preach. Relaxing.
Hawaii.
Ooh, dreams.
Indoor track and field for youth.
Preacher.
Darius Daniels.
Vacation.
Hawaii.
Man crush.
Shawn Johnson.
I was hoping. You're so silly.
You should have told me you're doing this. I'd have had some questions for you, and I'd have made you feel real uncomfortable.
Go for it. You want to try it?
No, I'm not good like that. I'm not good.
All right, everybody. Here's what we're going to do. I have learned today that we have exactly 1 hour. So I have a timer sitting next to me. We're going to go 59 minutes exactly, Jimmy, because I'm going to give myself 60 seconds to mess up.
There you go.
So no matter how deep of a thought Jimmy is in the middle of, no matter how many pearls he's throwing our way, I'm going to hit stop when we hit 59 minutes. All right. So we're going to go 59 minutes. A bunch of you have sent in questions today. And so thank you for doing that. We have went through all the questions, and we got a lot of questions that were very similar. And so I'm going to ask those. I'll tell you what, Jimmy. I'm going to try to take these headphones out because I'm getting a real bad echo.
All right. And
Let's see if I can mess things up.
If we get real deep and people want to jump on, Shawn, we could get back on.
Oh, yeah, we could always do that.
Yeah, I hear you way better now.
Oh, sweet. Okay, good. All right. The first question that a bunch of people ask is, how did you and Jimmy meet?
Oh, wow. You want me to answer that, or
Yeah,
you
go
want
ahead.
to answer it? Long story short, we started our church in 2012, and we had nobody to teach us how to do church because I was coming out of my parents' church, and it was an all African American church, and I knew I wanted to do a life giving model like how you guys do church, and we didn't know anybody, so I found this church online called Red Rocks, and I stole everything that they did. I preached Shawn Johnson's messages. We started sports ministry. We benchmarked all of your sermon series. And then we actually met, I think, 2 years ago in May at Hillsong, New York. And we sat next to each other. A mutual friend invited us, and we sat next to each other. And I was like, this is the Shawn Johnson. I told you the story about I-5 Church and how you helped this predominantly African-American church in Maryland when you didn't even know. And there she wrote, we just decided from that day on, we were going to do life together. And we have done it ever since. And there's probably not too many days that we don't talk.
It really was love at first sight, Jimmy.
It really was.
Hey, I got to be honest with you, though. I was real nervous when we met.
Really?
Yeah, because Todd Cruz had texted both of us and was like, hey, I need you guys to meet each other. You're both at service. So I didn't know we were sitting on the same row. I just knew I'm supposed to meet a guy named Jimmy. Well, I don't know if Jimmy's white, black, brown, orange. I don't know who Jimmy is. And all of a sudden, and he said Jimmy Rollins. And all of a sudden, Pastor Carl's up on stage at Hillsong, New York, and he's like, Jimmy Rollins, I know you're here. Why don't you come up on stage and take the offering? I was like, well, okay, there's Jimmy Rollins. And then I was like, dude, this guy's not going to want anything to do with me. Look how cool he is.
And we've been doing interracial friendship ever since.
Bro, I love it. Hey, so we got 51 minutes and 22 seconds. So I want to get right into it because some people got some good questions.
Let's do it.
All right. Before I start asking the question, well, that's not true. These were part of the questions. I just categorized them into a little statement.
Okay.
A lot of people asked about, you mentioned today in your sermon that you have your own past and your own pain. And you even talked about what it would look like for us to help you carry that. Can you describe a little bit what that's like?
Wow. Well, first of all, let me just give a disclaimer that I don't think all white people are racist. I don't think all white people are prejudiced. All black people don't hate all white people. And so I just know that there's hate in the world. And because of that hate, and not only all the time hate, but more fear of what they don't know. And so I've had a lot of experience. I've had experiences where my kid was the only black kid, African-American kid on a soccer team, and we were ostracized, and none of the parents would sit next to us. None of the parents would engage us. One of the kids, I think one of the first time my daughter heard the N-word was on the soccer field.
At Jaden's game?
Yeah, no, at my daughter's game.
Oh.
And since she's never played sports since. And she hates sports. And I think it does have to do with that trauma. That was trauma for her. We've had several situations. My first day of Bible college, I went to a Bible college, an all-white Bible college. There was only 15 African Americans there out of 1,000 students. And I walk into the college, and my dad, who was the warden of the Maryland State Penitentiary, ran the prison systems for the state of Maryland. The professor said, "So what inner city are you guys from?" These are just things that have happened. I was in chapel in that Bible college, and we had a missions chapel on a Friday, and this guy came on the stage, and he says, "I got a joke," and he told a racial joke, and in that racial joke was the N-word.
In chapel.
In chapel, on the stage, and I just got up and left. I didn't know what to do. Like, I was angry, I was hurt, I was upset. My friends, everyone was laughing as if that was just normal. Been in many situations where I dated, before I'm married, I dated interracial relationship, white people, white girls, and their parents just would have none of it. Just horrible comments. We went on vacation. Me and my family have gone on vacation, and we've walked into the gate of a pool and just watched everyone else get out.
Come on.
And, you know, I've been in churches where I've been called in to preach. And I remember it was like midsummer, and one of the ushers at a church that I was there to preach was like, "Is it Black History Month again?"
Dude.
And here's the deal, man. Like, I could tell you story after story. And here's the deal. Like, what I love about us, and we're family, and all my Red Rocks family who's on here, like, this is Uncle Jimmy. Like, I'm not lying. This is my life.
Yeah.
Like, I did a message. I preached a conference in Colorado Springs at New Life in Colorado Springs. And pastor's conference, I did a message years ago on racial reconciliation. And all of these pastors, I was the only Black guy in the room. I mean, they came up and gave their lives. I mean, they racial reconciliation. We laid hands. We prayed on people. I got home about 1 o'clock at night because my flight got delayed. And in Baltimore, and I was driving speed limit, got pulled over. You know, just there's a couple bad seeds here, you know, and
sure.
And the cop just started being belligerent and I said, "Why did I get pulled over?" And he said, "Well, you changed lanes without a blinker." And I was like, "Well, there's no one on the road." And "Don't talk back to me." And I could tell like he was trying to get me to react. And so I just hit record on my phone and recorded my phone because I always have my phone ready in the car in case I get pulled over so I can record. And so, man, I could go on and on. But guess what? That's not my Red Rocks family.
Come on,
That's
Jim.
not Shawn Johnson.
No.
That's not when Uncle Jimmy comes in town. I haven't, you know, experienced a ton of that in Denver. But, you know, this year I went to I don't know where I was at, but I went skiing in Colorado, and I was learning how to ski, and it was just weird. It was just weird to hear the Snickers and the kids and and we were staying at the Ritz in Denver, and probably 3 or 4 people came up to me and asked me for help, as if I worked for the Ritz. And man, it's just my normal, but I'm not stuck there.
Yeah.
Right? Like I said today, like your greatest misery has the potential to be your greatest ministry. And I honestly believe like that, you know, it's important that I do share those experiences.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I'll be honest with you, like it happens so frequently.
I was just going to ask you, how many days in a week do you feel like you're aware of it on the average?
I'm aware of it every day. Every single day.
Like it never, every day it's in the back of your mind.
100%. There's not a time that I walk out of my house, that I go to the grocery store, that I'm on the road, that I don't think about it. And here's the deal. 110%, some of it's paranoia, because that's been my normal.
Sure.
And what I would love to communicate is, you know, can you imagine walking in a room not being able to assume you're welcome? That's my everyday. And then I'm a large Black man, and I wear urban wear, and you know,
hey, you look good.
It's people don't, they're not used to that.
Yeah.
So, I've been on vacation and people ask me, you know, what basketball team do you play for? Like the only way that a Black man can be successful is if he plays sports. So I play into it. I got the best story though. Me and my wife in 2005 built a house. We moved into the house, beautiful home in our city. You know, we life savings. We flipped houses. We were, you know, we had good income, and the lady came out, the neighbor, and she literally said these words. She said, "How did you afford to live here?"
Stop it.
I promise you. And guess what I told her? "I'm a drug dealer. You better watch your kids."
Did you really?
I did.
Oh, man.
So here's the deal.
Yeah,
I'm not upset. I'm not angry. I'm called.
You have for everybody watching, I have told you this so many times in private, I want to say it publicly. You have such a special grace on your life to be a bridge builder between all races. I've never seen anybody like you. You have this grace to be understanding. You have this grace to be patient. You have this grace to do exactly what you preached about today, to get into somebody else's life and try to see things from their point of view, to experience what they've been through. And man, I'm just so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for our friendship. And I know our whole church is so grateful for our relationship with you. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. I love Red Rocks Church. And honestly, if it don't work out here in Baltimore, we're just going to move to Denver.
Come on.
And if you'll hire me, I'll help your African-American.
They will throw me out in a heartbeat when they hear they could have you. Hey, okay. So I want to start hitting some questions that are touchy, to say the least.
Yeah.
And these are conversations that we've had a ton of. And so I want to let the church hear some of your wisdom. I thought this was phrased very well. This question was one specific question, but there was a whole bunch of questions that were asking the same thing. I just like the way that Whitney worded it. Can you address Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter, and how that response could be hurtful to a person of color?
Well, here's the deal. Like, I'm going to paint this picture. So I used to be really overweight. Like, I had a eating, addiction, if you would, a food addiction. And I used to experience chest pains. And so one time the chest pains was so bad, I went to the hospital. And not the primary care doctor, the hospital. And when I walked into the hospital, it was the emergency room. And I couldn't, in my mind, I realized that there is a waiting room in the emergency room.
Right.
In other words, it's an emergency for everybody. But because I had a heart attack, I had symptoms of a heart attack. The good doctor thought it would be best to bring my issues to the front of the line.
Oh, come on.
Although all those other people were waiting and their issues were important, at that moment, the doctor thought it would be best to triage me first to get what's going on in me fixed. Not that he wasn't going to address those other needs. They're all emergencies. And I believe right now in this season that Jesus's hand is in this. And he realizes that the African Americans' hearts have been attacked. In the heart of the issues, they don't feel loved by the people in our city. They don't feel loved. And God has elevated this to say that, hey, you know what? You matter.
Yeah.
And I think the essence of this is not that all these other things don't matter.
Yeah.
It's that you matter. And I want to boil it down to this. Are you ready? It's going to be deep.
Come on.
Is it okay if I just want to matter? Just matter. Just matter. I just want to wake up and matter.
I hate that that's something you have to ask a question about.
I just want to matter. And what I don't understand is why is it that the fact that I want to matter makes some of my white friends feel lesser than? I just want to matter.
Yeah.
Let me make it more plain. I just want to live. I don't want my son to die. I just want to matter. So it's difficult for me because many people also say that, well, Black Lives Matter, you don't know what they stand for. They also stand for this, or they also stand for that. If you're having a heart attack, I don't think that you're going to go and ask the surgeon who's doing emergency surgery, hey, what's your political thoughts? Or what's your background?
Right. You're
What do you think about abortion? Or what do you think about same-sex marriage? You're having a heart attack.
Yeah.
I just want someone to fix this.
Yep.
And I'm not concerned about their political affiliation.
Yeah.
Do you have to?
Can I say something right there, Jimmy? Church, I have heard, and I have had so many conversations with people, and let's be honest, we are a predominantly white church at Red Rocks Church. We are going to change that. But at the moment, it's just a fact. And I have had a whole bunch of conversations where a whole bunch of people have said, yes, but shouldn't we just say all lives matter? Can't we just say all lives matter? And the truth is, until recently, I couldn't really understand the difference. I didn't really see it right, because I'm thinking, well, right, because all lives do matter, right? And I was talking with a Daisy, Jimmy, you know a Daisy, and
Yeah.
those of you at Red Rocks, you know a Daisy, our amazing worship leader, and we were talking about my boys, and she helped me see something that I hadn't seen before. It's like, what if Austin was getting picked on? Well, I'm in my car, and I'm driving to school. I'm driving to whoever's house did it. Like, I'm going to stand up for Austin, and I'm going to say his life matters. And I will lose my mind if somebody turns around and goes, yeah, but my life mattered. My kids matter too. Your other 2 kids matter too. Those kids over in that neighborhood, of course, they all matter. But right now, he's being picked on. So right now, he needs somebody to stand up for him. So right now, his life matters. And I could say, Jimmy, your life matters, and not be pushing a political agenda and not be pushing an organization, but just be standing behind a truth that, as my black friend, your life matters. And bro, I love you so much. And I'm so sorry that that's even a question that you have to answer right now. You got a whole bunch of white family members over here going, you matter and we love you.
Well, man, I appreciate it. And I want to thank all the Red Rocks people who have sent me personal direct messages to let me know that I do matter, and I get it, and I feel like that. And when I'm with you guys, I feel like family. And honestly, Shawn, like, this is great. This conversation that we're having is great. But I don't even know if we're really going to change this thing in our country, if this is a white and black conversation. I think this is a white and white conversation. I think my Red Rocks family and you are going to be so equipped to handle conversations, because I'm not going to change anybody's mind. Right? I'm not.
It's got to be a heart change, Jimmy.
It's got to be a heart change, and
that's the Jesus thing.
That's it, man.
That's what he does. Guys, I was talking to Jimmy today about this, and I said, you know, recently it's now a law that I have to wear my seatbelt. I don't know how many years it's been around, but it's fairly recent. At one point, I drove without a seatbelt, and it wasn't the law. Every time I get in my car now, I put my seatbelt on. But I was telling Jimmy today, not once have I put my seatbelt on and went, well, I better put my seatbelt on or I'm going to get arrested. No, at one point, I had a heart change, and I had this thought, like, I'm not just saving my life now. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I got to be responsible for the people I love, not just for myself. And so my whole heart changed about this whole seatbelt thing. Every time I get in my car, I put a seatbelt on now because my heart changed, not because of a law that changed. And I do think we need some new policies and some new reforms, but that's not my area of expertise. But Jimmy, what I know we need is the Holy Spirit to work on our hearts, for us to be willing to ask ourselves the question, is there something I need to look at?
Yeah.
Am I doing life with people who don't look like me? If not, why? Bro, becoming really good friends with you has been one of the biggest blessings in my life, and I have learned so much.
Wow. Can I say this? And it's like, I don't want people to feel like if looking out for black people, or if there was an ignorance, I just didn't know.
Yeah.
You're not racist. If you just didn't know. And here's the deal. I'm here as your family member to equip you. But can you imagine not knowing algebra, and the teacher tells you the equation and says, this is the answer, and you look back never knowing algebra before and saying, I'm not sure if that's the answer. It's kind of like this. So I go to the chiropractor, and I hate the chiropractor because, like, your insurance only has 30 days. I love and hate. I have a love-hate relationship. So every 30 days, you're like, it runs out. And when you go back, you got to fill out a new form. And on the form, it says, tell me where it hurts. And you make a little X on like they got like a little
Okay.
and then they say the level of pain. And then on the level of pain, normally it's like a 6 or a 7. Never once have I gone back to the back after I filled that out and the doctor saying, hey, are you sure it hurts that bad? Never once have I been negotiated with my level of pain. But a lot of people that are finding out about things that they've never heard of before, they're saying, it's not that bad. What can we like this?
Like you're not just trusted. You can't just say, "Can you
No.
just trust me? It hurts."
No,
Can you just trust me? It's there.
My prayer in this season is, God, give me compassion for the people I can't convince. That's where I'm at.
You know what I think is so important is, and you talked about it in your sermon today, is the enlarging your circle and looking to do life with and to love somebody that doesn't look like you. And it's not it's a Jesus thing.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what it is. But man, you learn so much in the process when you do that. I remember when we were at your house, and I'll never forget, Jaden was getting ready to leave, and I don't know where he was going, Jimmy's teenage son, and he was getting ready to get in the car, and you were like, hey, come here. You're like, listen, take your hood down. Don't wear your skull cap. You know you can't wear your hood up. Keep your music down. Keep your hands up on the steering wheel. Don't be combative if something happened. And then you were both like, okay, I love you, bye. And I was like, Jimmy, I don't understand.
Wow.
Like, and I remember it did something in my heart because I thought, I've said goodbye to my son Ethan countless times when he's about to drive somewhere. And I've never once wondered how he's wearing the hood on his hoodie. But it was just doing life with you and going, wait a second. Your experiences are just different than mine.
Yeah.
And I had heard before of, white privilege and never really understood it. And to be honest, I think I really misunderstood it because I've told you this before. I heard white privilege and I wanted to say, well, don't say white privilege because you don't know me. Let me tell you where I came from. It was not a privileged upbringing. But what I realized in that conversation, watching you talk to Jaden on the way out, is I lived with a privilege because of the color of my skin that I've never even fully understood. And one of the questions was about that. A whole bunch of people wanted to know, are we supposed to feel guilty because of that? Is that a thing? What are we supposed to do with that?
Well, I think, first of all, the essence of what that is more system than it is self. And so I think when from my experience in talking to you and talking to some of my white friends is when they hear that, they feel like, well, no, I worked for everything I got. No, you did. Or I'm not at any advantage. And what we don't understand is just that's the system that we're in rather than the self. Like yourself is not portraying it, but the system that we're in. And so I'll say it just as simple as this. Shawn, you have the privilege of never having that conversation with your son.
And I didn't even know that,
right?
That privilege.
Yeah. You have the privilege of walking into Nordstrom and not being followed around because you're black. Right? You have the privilege of walking into a car dealership and people actually think you're going to buy a car. I've been ignored in so many of those situations. And what I do is I find the one person that pays attention and I give that person the sale. I don't want somebody saying on here, H. Trump Heller. I don't ever want white people to feel guilty. Because I'm going to tell you something.
Doesn't do anything, does it?
With God's favor, like we love privilege when it's God's favor. Oh, it's God's favor. Oh, I got that loan and I didn't qualify for it. That was a blessing from the Lord. We love privilege until we start talking about this.
Right.
And then we're like, I don't know, but it's just as simple, man, as, you know, you don't have to see your pain. You don't have to see your ancestors with a noose around their neck in a history book.
Right.
That's just a privilege.
Yep.
That's the system.
Here's a great question, Jimmy. I'd love to hear you talk about this. Can you address all of us who want to support the police and racial injustice at the same time?
Oh, that's so
But
good.
before you answer that, I'll tell you the experience I just had with this week. I recently posted just something about how that day I happened to be praying for George Floyd and his family. I think I had watched the funeral or something. I don't remember. I started getting a lot of kind of mean-spirited DMs and, you know, the game, assuming that because I said I wanted to pray for George Floyd's family, that I was against police officers.
Yeah.
And I don't argue with people on social media. It's not my thing, but like I wanted to that day. In fact, I wanted to like make a video for the world to see and go, no, you don't understand. Like we work with amazing police officers at every single one of our locations.
Yeah.
I don't just pray for the victims of racial violence right now. I also pray for the people that are protecting us in the streets. There's a lot of amazing first responders, but
That's right.
anyways, I don't want to get in the way of your answer. I'm going to reread the question. Can you address all of us who want to support the police and racial injustice at the same time? Because I think, Jimmy, we think it's an us versus them, or it's an either or an or, right?
Nah.
Like, and for me, like, I want to figure out, am I not saying it right? Because I'm against racism. I'm not against police officers.
Yeah. Well, here's the deal. Like my cousin is a police officer. He's black, right? And it's not all police officers.
Right.
We just love to group everyone into one thing. Just like when people are rioting, all black people aren't angry.
Right.
Like, but here's the deal, man. Let's not look at this. I want to frame it up this. That police officer has a badge. That badge gives him authority, right?
Yep.
What happens is if you have a bad heart with a badge of authority, you're going to multiply that bad heart. If you have a good heart with a badge of authority, you're going to multiply that good heart, right?
And I've seen that too.
Correct. So it tells me this is the issue. Every father needs a father. Every pastor should have a pastor.
Yeah.
Every coach should have a coach. Everyone in authority needs to be under authority.
Yeah.
The system, it's not the uniform. It's the system that has police officers policing themselves. And so if you have a badge of authority and you have a bad heart, that bad heart is going to be multiplied, and then you have anarchy. Wow. Anarchy is I can do whatever I want to do, right? That's not the person. Let's stop looking at the badge and let's start looking at the person.
Come on.
Now, if you had someone in authority over someone in authority, then you can say, let's do an emotionally healthy test before we give you a badge. Let's do a racially biased test before we give you a badge. Let's see if you have any prejudice or hate in your heart before we give you a badge. The police need to be policed, but that's the system, not the person.
Yep.
And so it's kind of like this. If you went to a doctor, Shawn, and he was working on your knee and he had malpractice, right? And you did a malpractice lawsuit and won, but you hurt your other knee. Would you never go to the doctors again? No, that's one bad person.
That's right.
But we want to group everyone in. The problem is we are seeing what the media is creating this narrative that we're all following along, and we think that it's everybody, all black people, all white people, all police officers, and it's not the case. The case is, man, we did a walk for justice this past week.
Oh, tell them about that. It was so good.
3,000 people walked in a peaceful protest. Guess who escorted us? Police officers that we called, and they showed up, and they cheered with us, and they cheered for justice with us. That Sunday morning, we also interviewed another police officer that goes to our church that just got shot by another African American in the city. It's not all police officers. It's everybody that is not under the blood of Jesus Christ, that their heart, if it's bad, gets magnified with the badge of authority, and they don't come under authority.
Yep.
Does that help?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I said, does that help?
100%. You know, I heard somebody say something the other day, and I thought, man, that's so true. We got to be careful with our media intake, because the media thrives on division. If they have nothing to talk about when there's unity.
Yeah.
And so you listen to this side, and it's us versus them, and you listen to this side, and it's us versus them. And I just think we got to be careful with our media intake, because the truth is the gospel is all about unity, right? It's all about children of God with being saved by the blood of Jesus in the same family. But media is all about division. Media is all about, it's us against them. It's us against them.
It's real, man. We got to remember that they make a living on finding shocking news.
Right.
Nobody wants to watch unity on the news.
Nobody wants to see you and me hug.
No. No.
Yeah.
And here's the deal, man. Like, it's so hard for me, Shawn, that I just want to matter. And I hear, well, what about this? I just want to matter. Well, what about all lives matter? I just want to matter. Well, what about the rioting? I just want to matter.
Yeah.
Can I matter?
Yeah.
Here's a better one. Can we be equals? Like, what are we talking about? Like, I don't understand. Like, well, what they believe. No. Can we just be, well, haven't we, I love this one. Haven't we progressed? Well, anything short of equality is not progress.
Well, and when you have a month where you focus on Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, I think it's hard to say we got a lot of, we got a long way to go, Jimmy.
Yeah.
We got a long way to go. I do believe, though, that, Genesis 50:20, I think, but it's when Joseph was talking to his brothers, and he said, what the enemy meant for evil,
Come on.
you turned around, and now my God has used it for good.
Wow.
And that has been one of my prayers, because I'm in that category of, man, I want to be a part of racial restoration and healing, and I don't always know what to do, and I don't always know what to say. And so I just been praying, God, would you take a situation that Satan has obviously meant for evil, and would you do something so good? I mean, you look, there's nobody in the world, you can't look at that video of George Floyd and not just be heartbroken and irate and just see, like, that's wrong. There's a problem, right? Yeah. And I just believe we got this great big God. I saw a news clip where George Floyd's daughter was on somebody's shoulders, and the camera was on her, and she said, my daddy changed the world.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm like, oh, God, please, that's my prayer, that you would take something so awful and you would do something so redeeming with it, and we would get to see you shine through it. I believe that can happen, man.
I think so. I believe so too, man. I'm it's my passion, my purpose is to make those lives count for something greater than just controversy. And another thing, Shawn, that if I could talk to my white family here at Red Light, is You don't need to find out the whole story when someone's life is lost. I hear so many people say, well, we don't know the whole story. Hold on, wait. If that's your brother, do you need to know the whole story? Somebody died.
Yeah.
That was somebody's son. Yeah. That was somebody's father. That was somebody's mother. Let's say he had drugs in his pocket. Let's say he had cocaine. He was high on cocaine. Did he deserve to die? Isn't there something called due process?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing that divides us. When did he deserve it? Did Ahmaud Arbery, did it matter if he robbed a house? He didn't. But did it even matter? Did he need to be hunted down in the streets and murdered?
And isn't that part of the problem, though, Jimmy, is that so many people in our country right now, the first problem is, well, let's get the whole story first.
It is. And tell us your son or somebody we know.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm saying about that I hope came across today is that in the kingdom, we are brothers and sisters. So don't look at George Floyd as some guy's name, George Floyd, who you don't know. That's your brother in Christ. Like, that's what I was saying today. I want you to see me. See me under that knee.
Yeah.
See my son. And say, we got to do something about this. I have never been more hopeful as a black man in my adult years than I am right now, because the church is talking about this. Yeah. And let me talk to all the black people who go to Red Rocks real quick.
Come on.
You cannot absolve something that's been around for 400 years in 4 days. Give your pastors time to take it in so that it's not just policy without a heart championing this. I know the hearts are right, but it's just from a lack of information. Well, we need to do this, and we need to do that, and we need to do that. Listen, if it don't have a strategy and strategic plan behind it, Pastor Shawn and I have been talking about all of this stuff. How do we get better? You can't just go out and hire black people to be on your staff that you don't know. Let me tell you something, Red Rocks Church. If your church was ever going to be more diverse, and here's what I'm saying. Why I'm saying if, because if ain't no black people around, they not coming to church. So here's the deal. If diversity never shows up in the seats of the church, let's make sure it sits in your heart.
Come on.
And here's the deal. Like, if the church is going to be diverse, then the people in the church are going to have diverse relationships. Shawn, it is not your job. It is not your job to build a diverse church. It is the people in the church that have diverse relationships and they invite their friends to church. I'll preach right there.
Come on. It's hard though, because there's so many backstories, right?
Yeah.
And everybody has an experience and a thing and a family and a stereotype and a deal. And like, I remember when we were becoming friends thinking, he doesn't want to be my friend. Mm-hmm. I have nothing to offer him. It's hard. Why is it so hard? Is it just because it's uncomfortable and it's new and we just, right?
Yeah, I think there's just fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Like, you fear what you don't know.
Yeah.
And what happens right now is we got to make sure that we understand that we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
Yeah.
This is not a black-white issue. This is a kingdom of darkness versus a kingdom of light issue. And I think if we understand that we need to be prayed up, we need to, like, I've been thinking about intentional small groups of people that want to be in diverse small groups in our church. Yes. And they can sign up for those groups saying, I want to do life with people that don't look like me. Can you imagine if we did that intentionally and set it up where, like, let's do it. Like, let's have my church and your church do online small groups together.
Hey, this world just taught us we do everything by Zoom.
Come on, bro.
Hey.
But
This idea happened right here. Wait till this happens. This is sweet.
Shawn, how intentional have we had to been with our relationship?
Yeah.
We're intentional.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
here's a good thought, because there's a lot of people from my church on here too, I can see. Look in your cell phone. Look in your favorites. How many people in your favorites don't look like you? Now, I want you to understand, I don't want you to feel condemned. I want you to feel convicted to go out and change it.
Come on.
And here's the deal, like, it might not show up in the form of a relationship. It might show up in just the form of a hello. I see you. I notice you. I love you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine walking up, say somebody goes into the restaurant tomorrow and they sit next to some African Americans at the table in Denver. How amazing would it be to say, hey, I just want you to know it sucks that what we're going through as a country right now. And I want you to know that I'm committed to doing better, doing my part to make it better. Do you know the walls that tears down? Do you know how defeated the enemy is?
Jimmy, when we started the church, you know the game. Nobody's got jobs. Nobody's got money. There's no people. Everybody's working other jobs and coming to the church at night and on the weekends. And I got a job as a chaplain at St. Luke's Hospital in Denver. And the first day of training, I was following the actual chaplain.
Yeah.
And the first room we went into was a 18-year-old boy who had just gotten meningitis. And in one day, he went from a healthy teenage boy to lost all 4 of his limbs.
Yeah.
The next room we went into was a young couple whose baby just died. And as you can see, everybody who might be on here that doesn't know me, I'm a crier. She did the chaplaining. I stood in the back and just cried and watched. And then we left, and now we were going to go. So I'm doing all this training. And I said to her, I said, I'll tell you my biggest fear is I don't know what to do, and I don't know what to say when I go in the room. And dude, I'll never forget the advice she gave me. And I wonder if it's something that would help us bridge this gap today. She said, oh, you never know what to do, and you never know what to say. Wow. This is called a ministry of presence.
Woo!
You go in the room, and what you do and what you say will work itself out, and God will be there. She's like, it's called a ministry of presence. And so my whole job was to walk into rooms that I didn't know what to do and I didn't know what to say, but I just had to decide ahead of time, I'm just going to be here with you. And it reminds me of what you were talking about today, that whole like, and just come help me breathe sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think we don't, because we don't know what to do and we don't know what to say, right?
Yeah. It's real, man. I mean, I told you this the first time I came to Red Rocks Church to preach. Man, I was nervous, man. I mean, I preached everywhere, but I was just nervous.
Why?
And if I'm honest, I was nervous because I'm like, am I going to be able to be myself? Like, are these white people going to accept me? Like, those are things I think about. And my wife has to text me, you know, all the time and says, be yourself. Don't dumb yourself down. Don't make yourself small so that everybody else can feel big, you know? And that was paranoia at your church. I never felt ostracized one bit.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, it was good to see a daisy. You know, I was like, there we go. You know, and I think that we gotta, like, because I've heard a lot of my white friends say, and these are conversations I just had, like, but I'm so uncomfortable. And here's what I say: welcome to my everyday.
Come on.
That's my everyday.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. You know what I can do, Shawn? Because I can do this better than any white people I know. You ready? I know how to be the minority.
Tell me about that.
What do you mean? I can help you be the minority.
Oh, okay.
I can help you walk into rooms and not feel welcome. I can help you with conversations of how to break down and find common ground on sports or baking or cooking or grilling. You just gotta find some common ground. If you got kids, I got kids too. How old are your kids? Great. We should do a potluck. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We gotta like the simplest form of relationship. And people always say, well, what's the next steps? What do I do, at the next steps? What do I think the first thing is just ask God to search your heart.
Yeah.
I want to say this because I know our time is coming down.
We got 8 minutes.
Here's what I want to help you with. Because I've heard, one of my overseers who is white, Pastor Rick Bazette, flew into town this week for 3 days so that he could just ask questions. And we hung out, played golf. Yes, I do play golf, and I'm black, and I will beat anybody on here, unless you're lower than an 8 handicap. He was here asking questions, and I said, man, it's not racist or non-racist. It starts at comfortable. It goes from comfortable, have my comforts become my preferences, have my preferences become my standards, have my standards become stereotypical comments and thinking from anybody outside of my comfort zone. Has those stereotypical things become prejudgment, which is prejudice, and then it gets to racism, where it's about superiority. Let me tell y'all something.
Because you never meet somebody who goes, oh, I'm racist.
No, but all of us like to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard for Christians, once they get saved, to ask God to search their heart?
It's scary because it's like me. It's like my wife will do this, Jimmy. Every now and then she'll go, and Jill, she's just better than me. Every now and then she'll go, how can I be a better wife?
Wow.
And it makes me mad that she asked the question, because I know that in response, I'm supposed to ask the same question. And I don't want to ask the question because I don't want to hear the answer. That's why I don't want to ask the question.
Yeah.
That's why we don't say, God, search my heart on this, because God forbid he would show me that there's something in there that I wasn't aware of. Church, I asked that very question to you this week, didn't I, Jimmy?
Yeah, you did.
That's a scary question because you're a straight shooter, and I was scared to death of what you would say, right? I had this question. I got 2 more questions. This one's for me, and then we got one for you. Pastor Shawn, I've heard it said pride calcifies our ignorance. Would you admit that as a member of the white community, a good place to start would be to say, I don't know? Because we can't learn if we think we already know. And again, I'm not coming up with these questions. That was something in that category. It came up a lot today. And I feel like that's all I say to you, Jimmy, is I don't know. Remember the day I called you and I was like, hey, I can't ask anybody else in the world this question.
Yep, I remember.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say you're my black friend or my African-American friend.
Yeah.
And I'm so stupid that I have to even ask, like, forgive me. I
That's
don't even
not
know.
stupid. That's real, because there are some African Americans who really care about that. Really care about that. I care more about your heart. And here's the deal, man. We're such friends. I'm just deciding our relationship, I'm going to be unoffendable, because we both get better. Here's the deal. Let me ask you a question. This is a great question.
Okay, hit me.
Do you want to be right? All the people who got all lives, do you want to be right, or do you want to grow closer? I don't want to be right.
I want to grow closer.
I want to grow closer.
Yep.
So I think the win has to change. The win is not I'm right and you're wrong. The win is, you know what? If you're right and I'm wrong, we get better. If I'm right and you're wrong, we grow closer.
Yep.
I just want to grow closer.
All right, Jimmy, we got 4 minutes. Last question. This was the number 1 question asked, so you're going to have to be concise, but I left it for last because I really feel like this was what your whole message was about today. But for those who might have missed it, Pastor Jimmy, what is it that African Americans want most from their white brothers and sisters in this moment?
to be valued.
And how do we do that, Jimmy?
Let me help you. We will never get to equality until we first get to dignity.
That's so good.
And dignity is that George Floyd, that Ahmaud Arbery, that is just not acceptable.
Yeah.
I want my white friends to be out there with the Black Lives Matters. If you don't want to say Black Lives Matter, you can write on yours, Black People Matter. I just want dignity. Just want to matter. And if my white friends would be willing to just listen, it's hard for people who are voices to become ears, man. Just listen. And I think before we make decisions, just be open to dialogue.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not going to give anybody the steps, how to, what they should do, how they should do. You know what? Because here's the deal. If we got policy with no heart change, it won't last.
But think about the horsepower in church. This is why we wanted to do this. Think about the horsepower that just this one church that you're talking to right now has. Before COVID, we'll have 15,000 people a weekend show up live. What if 15,000 people where we have locations say, God, search my heart, expand my circle, help me to do life with somebody who doesn't look like me, help me to listen more than I speak, help me to learn more than I advise.
It's good.
Bro, we can change the world.
We can
build this bridge. I believe it.
Red Rocks, I want you to know how much I love you. I want you to know that this is all in love. There is no judgment. And I'll just ask you before you hit your head on that pillow tonight to just ask God to search your heart and be honest with yourself. That's it.
I love you, Jimmy.
I love you, bro.
I-5 City, I love you. Red Rocks Church family, I love you so much. Thank you for joining us. This is not the end of this journey. This is the beginning.
And they will save this. So many people have asked, and you'll be able to get this.
Yeah, I'm going to save it. Hey, I love you, brother. I'll talk
All right,
to you.
man. Love you too, bro.
Bye-bye.
Later.